All right, looks like we are live. So I am going to give everybody just a few minutes to jump on. Happy Wednesday. I was about to say happy Monday, but it is not Monday. All right, guys. Happy Wednesday. It's another great day. It's 6 p.m. Central. It is time to go. If you guys are watching this live, I'm going to give everybody just a minute or two to jump on. I'm super excited. We started our 3-day virtual summit yesterday. If you guys missed yesterday's episode, make sure to go and check out the replay. The way that this group works, whether you're watching this now live or you're watching it 6 months from now, if you guys go up, I believe it's this way in the group under units, we put all of the units of training in sequential order. Yeah, that's a really big word, sequential order of our training. So we're obviously going to post all of those there. Now, we always expect our middle training to be the least attended. So we appreciate you guys who joined on here. Tomorrow's the grand finale where we talk about how to actually train a VA. But tonight we are going to break down a lot of limiting beliefs around VAs. There is a lot of misinformation in the industry, and you guys would guess, why is there misinformation? You can probably guess it, no different than the world of politics or other worlds. It all comes down to the money and who controls the flow of the virtual assistant industry. And we'll talk more about what I mean by controlling the flow, but it comes down to big business telling us certain things that prevent us from getting a virtual assistant, or have a misunderstanding of the process, or just bad expectations all the way around. So it's 6:02. I want to see who's jumping on. So just like last night, even if you did it last night, there could be other people watching that weren't here. So I would love for you guys to drop a comment. Where are you guys listening in from? Guys, this group is also a great referral group. We're all real estate agents. So those that participate the most in the group and are always providing value, we've seen a lot of referrals fly back and forth over time. So as I give people a chance to join, just a reminder, I am going to look like I'm on my phone. Shireen may join us. She's super busy today, placing a ton of clients and working on our Sphere Rocket virtual assistant business. So she may join us. If not, totally cool. She'll definitely be on for tomorrow. So just going to open up my phone so I can answer all the questions that you guys might have throughout today's episode. If you guys missed last night, make sure to go back and watch Unit 1, because we gave out some documents, some things that you need to work through, just some good ideas. So that's also attached in the comments. If you'd missed those, just comment here. So where are you guys tuning in from tonight? Would love to know. Give it about another minute. We're going to dive into the myths. I did put it in a fancy, or I didn't put it in there, my VAs put it in a fancy slideshow presentation so we can walk through all of the myths that go on when it comes to hiring, training, hiring virtual assistants, training, hiring, training. That seems to be the circle of life when it comes to virtual assistants. So we are going to dive in here in just a second as soon as my phone loads, and we are going to get started. So feel free to drop any guys questions as we go through tonight on here as well. So any questions you guys come across, please feel free to drop those in the comments below. So we are going to get started here, and let's share my screen. So if you guys give me just 1 second, going to share my screen. Brittany's coming in from Boulder. Thanks, Brittany. You Snapchatted me just now, so you probably just sent me a picture of myself. I appreciate it. Got Dawn, Katie, Texas, San Diego. What's up, Curtis? Look forward to chatting with you tomorrow, man. So I got 11 comments, and I can only see 4 of them. You guys broke Zoom. I love it. So let's go ahead and share my screen real fast. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to dive into all of the myths that exist around hiring virtual assistants. I am obviously out of paper as well. That's super, super cool. So let's just kind of dive into this, guys. And please feel free to jump in, ask any questions that you guys have as we go through this. So let me make sure I can pull open our live right now, and we will get going. Perfect. Boston in the house again. I love it. We got quite a few of us joining in here. So we are just gonna dive right in, guys. Feel free to drop your questions. And like I said, this is day 2. If you missed day 1, go check it out. Day 2 is all around the myths of hiring a VA. Every single one of these myths are actually myths, lies, misconceptions that I had when I first got into the business, because I just believed what other people were telling me rather than experiencing it for myself. So let's just kind of dive in. Today's going to be a shorter, it's a shorter night. We're only going to be about 30 minutes or so. So we'll be out of here by 7:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, 5:30 Mountain, and then 4:30 if you're in Arizona time, because you guys have your own time zone, and 4:30 on the West Coast. So myth number 1, that we always get this question, guys. I mean, our team is taking like 8 calls a day of people coming to us, asking us to hire virtual assistants for them. And the very first thing that I always get is, Justin, I cannot overcome the fact that they're not sitting by me. Can you help me overcome that? Can you talk to me about that? How do you guys get around that? Now, what's really cool about this, and I'm going to show you guys some software here at the end of the slideshow too. So hold on, we're going to go through all the mess. I'm going to show you guys some really cool software. So number 1 is they're not sitting by me. I know a lot of you guys might have had this myth 9, 10, 12 months ago, and it's been shattered since COVID. One of the greatest things that I think that COVID brought to the real estate industry, when we're looking positively, is that so many things, we talked about this last night a little bit too, is things were normalized. Things that you didn't think could happen could now happen virtually, right? Whether that's training and education, whether that's team meetings, whether that's meetings with our clients via Zoom, whether that's closings via the internet, right? Or some type of variation of that. There are so many things that can be done when they're not sitting by you. Now, the number 1 reason we get this question is not usually from the sense of the VA not being able to accomplish the task sitting by you. It usually comes from 2 places. It either comes from, hey, how can I train them when they're not sitting right next to me and I can't just show them something on my computer? Or number 2, how do I monitor them and make sure that they're actually working? Now, think about this. Let's say that you have kids, you have, a spouse, you have dogs, you have cats, you have whatever, and you're sitting at home and your assistant is at the office. That is the number 1 reason why we see people not get assistants, because they're used to living a life where they only report to themselves. And when you have an assistant, whether you like it or not, that's sitting in person at the office, you feel an obligation to have to go into the office for their sake of sanity and teamwork and culture, that you're not just out running around having fun. I know that when I had an in-person assistant, or 3 or 4 or 5, however many I've been throughout the days, Matt, you're still here, man. You're sticking it out. And so that was my biggest concern, and it was my struggle, is I felt like I had to go into the office. You guys can't see here, but I actually have 3 screens in my office here. Behind this screen, I have 3 screens, and on every screen throughout the day, each screen has a different Zoom room on it. Now, what's really cool about that is, obviously, you guys know that I have 14 virtual assistants for myself on all my different companies, and each screen has a different Zoom room where my virtual assistants are in there all day long. And the really cool thing about that is if I need to go to the store, or I need to go show a property, or I need to do whatever I need to do, I know that the moment I get back, that they're still sitting there if I need them to be there. If I don't want them to see me, I just turn off my video. If I don't want them to hear me, I turn off my sound. If I need to show them something, I don't have to walk out of my office and go find them down the hall, or have to interrupt what they're doing. I just send everybody a message and go, hey, when you get a free second, I need to show you something. It's easy to show my screen, etc. Now, my favorite thing that has been the biggest, and we talk about this in some of my really high-level masterminds, is the fact that we're using Zoom now is fantastic, because this is a tool where we can capture everything. So what we recommend, number 1, and we kind of slightly hit on this last night, that I recommend you do now, even if you don't plan on getting a virtual assistant or an assistant for many years, months, times, whatever, or if you're getting one tomorrow. I know a lot of you guys jumped on my calendar last night to get a VA tomorrow. We were so excited, and I love that. Is get an upgraded Zoom account. Pay $15 a month. Spend the big bucks. Get an upgraded Zoom account to where every day you log into your computer, log into a Zoom room, and do that all day. Do that all day. Record your screen all day. Now you're like, Justin, but what if I don't need that for training? Just record your screen all day. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go into your Zoom account, you're gonna change the settings in your Zoom account to automatically record. So it's gonna automatically record every time you go into Zoom. So make sure you're wearing pants, a shirt, etc. when you turn on your Zoom. It's gonna automatically record without even thinking about it. And then it's gonna automatically put it into the cloud. Now the cool thing about that is when you get into that habit, and you're doing things throughout your day, you're actually creating training material, whether you think about it or not. When you're working on your CRM, when you're sending messages on Facebook Messenger, when you're making calls, keep your mic on because it will record all the calls you're making for your VA to eventually go back and learn more about you. When you're creating your social media post, when you're creating your under contract post, when you're sending out transactions and you're coordinating transactions, there is so much being recorded that we can later on use in training that it is absolutely crazy. So the fact that they're not sitting by me has actually changed my world because I can get to them in just a matter of a few seconds with the world of Zoom. I don't feel obligated that I have to be here or not be there. Honestly, when I turn my video off and I turn my sound off, for all they know, I'm still sitting right here when I could be down the street or, at the pool, right? They don't know, and it keeps this really good sense of community though, because we can all chat and talk throughout the day as needed. So that's myth number one. So myth number two is that there's an accent/language barrier. Now, if you guys still have this thought in your mind that there's an accent or a language barrier, number one, go watch last night's video with Shireen. Number two, go to sphererocketva.com, www.sphererocketva.com, and I have videos of all the VAs that we've hired recently and given to people, and you'll be able to hear how they speak, how they talk. And if you still believe there's a language barrier, you need to get over it. It's something that's just not true. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is if you have a big concern around accent language barrier, I want you to look at businesses around the world that are using virtual assistants. You have places like Chase Bank, Verizon, DirecTV, Dish TV. Now, the reason why the myth exists that there's an accent or a language barrier is because when you get into really high up companies like that, they are going for max dollar optimization. They are looking to save as much money as possible. That's why a lot of times they will take those jobs to places like Kenya, to places like India, because they're trying to even get cheaper dollar per hour than even what the Philippines offers in the currency exchange. And when you do that, you're obviously going to run into different challenges. Obviously, people from India have a much thicker accent that it's nothing against their culture. It's just purely a thicker accent than in the Philippines. And the reason why companies go there is if they can go from $3 an hour to $1 an hour, it purely is just a business move at that high level. That is why we personally recommend in the real estate industry that you go to the Philippines to be able to get your virtual assistants because their language barrier is slight to none. Now, if you guys see throughout this thing, I want you guys to do here, if you guys are watching and you guys saw some of my emails, we are actually giving coaching calls away for free, whether it's in the VA space, whether it's in the Facebook ad space, whether it's just real estate consulting in general. If you guys are participating and whenever we say to do something, if you do it in the comments, we'll enter you guys to get free coaching from myself or any of my team members where they specialize in certain things, whether it's my video editor, my YouTube guy, our sales team, anything like that, we'll do it. So as we're going through this, if you guys see a myth that you have struggled with, I would love for you just to write the word myth number one, myth number two, myth number three. If you guys agree that at one time you had a question or a myth that you believed was a problem and we either shattered it last night or shattered it today, let's go through here and ask questions and write down any of the myths that you guys come across. So myth number three is that the industry tells you about virtual assistants, especially international virtual assistants, is it must be hard to pay them. Like, Justin, I don't know how to pay them. Do we use Venmo? Do we use Zelle? Do we use Zoom? Do we use PayPal? Like, how do we pay them? How do we do the taxes? How is that done? Guys, I'll tell you, the big virtual assistant companies that want you to pay them a reoccurring charge forever and ever and ever, they make it sound really, really hard to do this. Guys, if you've ever used Venmo, if you've ever used PayPal, if you've ever had to click send $100 via Chase Bank to your electric company, it is as easy as that. we use systems. There's 3 main systems we use. The main system we use is TransferWise, Transfer, W-I-S-E. The second one is Payoneer. That's another great one. Another system is Xoom, X-O-O-M. And then also PayPal. It takes my team less than 3 minutes a week to pay all 14 of our team members. 3 minutes a week to pay all 14 of our team members. So if anybody ever tells you it's really hard to pay someone internationally, they're just lying to you, or they've never done it themselves, or they don't know how to use technology. Now, if you're on this Facebook Live, you probably know how to use technology, so it's not going to be a problem for you. Number 4, myth number 4 is taxes must be complicated. Like, Justin, I don't know how to deal with international people. Guys, this is really easy. Just go to your tax accountant, your CPA, and ask them, if I hire someone internationally for real estate and they're working for me in an international contractor status, what is my tax obligation? What do I have to do? They will give you an answer. I won't dive super deep into this. I'm going to put the caveat in anything I say here. Don't use it against me. I'm not liable. But when it comes to tax obligations, it is just like a 1099 to a degree. When you send the money to your international contractor, it is on them to account for taxes in their country according to their laws in different places depending on where they live. You can just take it as a straight deduction most of the time. So if you guys want an article that we refer to be able to handle this, just say I in the comments below, and I will make sure to get you guys that article. There are so many tax benefits to using virtual assistants. It's super easy. We're actually having a webinar here in a coming few weeks, so put a note down on the tax benefits of having a virtual assistant. We'll talk about that in an upcoming, but if you want that article that we use as our reference guide, feel free to say I, and we will make sure to get that to you. Myth number 5 is my broker says no. My broker says I'm not allowed to have a VA. They have to be licensed. They have, for a lot of people, the broker that you work for is old school. Nothing against them. If you're a broker, don't kill me, but most brokers are super old school. And so when you bring forth the idea of using a virtual assistant from another country, their mind just explodes and they say, no, 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 no. Guys, if I were to pull out the Wall Street Journal top 1,000 agents, you would be absolutely shocked how many of those are using virtual assistants in your own state, in your own city, and usually within your own brokerage. And so if your broker is restricting you from using a virtual assistant, I'm going to say that you're probably at the wrong brokerage. Now, I understand that some places, it depends on, you might not be able to have your VA put things in the MLS because the MLS has strict rules against unlicensed entry. And, there are some caveats that are very legit that we're not telling you to go break rules. But a lot of times we hear brokers just say, no VAs. Yet the team down in the hall has an unlicensed assistant running signs and, sending gifts and doing things like that. All the same things that you could have your VA do, managing the CRM. But because you said it's an international VA, they say no. So I would challenge you, if that's the case, challenge them, number 1, don't just settle. And number 2, interview other people in your market and see what they're doing. The other thing is you guys can use us as a resource. Ask me about your market. Ask me about people I know in your market that are using your virtual assistants. After placing nearly over 120 of these, probably nearing 150 after this week, what's really cool is there's not really a lot of markets we're not in, and if we're not in one for a reason, we'll be able to tell you why, because there might be some restrictions. So don't let that hold you back. Now, number 7, your company's dollar is low. Okay, now I want to talk about this. One thing that people always come to me after we do, webinars or conversations like this, they say, Justin, your company's dollar is low. You're talking about hiring VAs from $3 an hour to $5 an hour or $6 or so. And when we look online, we see all these companies advertising that it's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you guys haven't ever looked at other virtual assistant companies, or you have, you're going to see on average that they cost about $1,200 to $2,000 a month for you to hire a full-time virtual assistant. And so when I tell you that you can hire a virtual assistant for $640 a month, you go, wow, Justin, where are you getting your people, or are you underpaying?
Well, no, let's work the math backwards. If a company is charging you $1,200 to $2,000, they have to have a cut. So let's just say $1,500. Let's say a company is charging you $1,500 a month to have a VA. Well, if you say that that company on average takes 700 of it and they pay their VA 700-800 of it, cool. The VA is only making 700 or 800 of it, and the company's taking the rest because the company is a business and they need to make a profit for what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with those companies, but they take that charge on you forever. So month one, the company made $700 on you, the VA made 800. Month two, the company makes 700, the VA makes 800. So your VA is being compensated just as well as everything I talked about, but then that company's taking the $700 upcharge on you forever. Now, don't get me wrong, that company is helping you. They found you the VA. They're probably providing you some services or some training. The problem is once you get into year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because you don't go and get a VA hoping they only work out for a few months. You get a VA for a lifetime member that you hope stays with you for a super long time. And so the problem is once you get to year 2, 3, 4, 5, that company is now taking $700 a month for probably really not doing a whole lot for you anymore. They're just collecting their check like an insurance company. It's a residual model. And so the number one myth that we always get is, Justin, there's no way that you can pay a VA $647, $800 a month because all these websites say $1,200, $1,500, $2,000. Well, that's correct. Those websites do say that, but it's because that company has an upcharge built in that you have to take into account. And so when we teach people how they can do it without those upcharges, people are absolutely shocked because that can save you a lot of money in your first year with a virtual assistant, even more in future years. Myth number 8, a VA can only do repetitive tasks for me. We kind of already nailed this down last night. So if you missed last night's, another plug, go watch last night's webinar. People tell me all the time, well, a VA can only do repetitive tasks for me. Here's what I'm going to tell you of why that myth exists, okay? Now, again, I'm not talking about other companies here, but there's some limitations with those other companies. When you go through, and if repetitive spelled wrong, that's my fault. I don't know. That's really bothering me right now. Grammar is not my strong suit. It's just bothering me. With other companies, if the VA is only going to make a portion of what you're paying them, that company can only advertise a certain rate to their virtual assistant. And so what I mean by that is, let's say that the company is paying their VA $2, $3, $4 an hour. But let's say you need a VA to run your entire organization that has massive skills. They've managed people before. They've run big companies. You can't pay them $2 to $3 to $4 an hour to run your entire company from top to bottom and expect them to have massive managerial experience. And so a lot of people, when they look for that and they go to a typical company, and that company says, awesome, we'll take you on, we can do that. They smile and they go, it's $1,500. Well, if you remember the margin that they have to build in, the problem is they can never give that VA over a certain dollar amount. Now, yes, you can bonus them and you can do things like that. But when that company is recruiting to find you a VA, they can only offer a small piece of the puzzle to them, or cake, or whatever you want to call it, because they need to keep a healthy margin. And so for someone like myself, about a month ago, I set out to find a new virtual assistant for myself, and I needed this person to run an entire company of mine, a 6-figure company. I needed them to run it from top to bottom. Now, I wasn't going to go hire a $2 to $3 virtual assistant. I have $2 to $3 virtual assistants on my team, and that's equivalent, like we talked about last night, to $30,000 to $40,000 a year in income. But you wouldn't go hire someone to run your company at $30,000 to $40,000 in the United States. I needed to go pay someone $6, $7, $8, $9 an hour to be able to run my entire company. And so with the freedom of knowing how to go and do that without paying an upcharge, we were able to go and find people that aren't there just for repetitive tasks. So when you have the knowledge on how to do something, you have the training and support and mentorship of an awesome group like this, where if you ask someone, how do I do this? We're able to help you with that. So that's another myth that can be absolutely shattered. The next myth that we always get is, Justin, short-term projects. VAs are only good for short-term projects. And the reason why we get fed this is because I always hear, well, Justin, I have an Upwork VA. Why do I need a real full-time one? Hey, I have a Fiverr VA that's doing my graphics and doing this. Why do I need a full one? Guys, it's just like Facebook. There's a reason why Facebook and big companies don't go out there and just say, oh yeah, I use this contractor service and I'm letting other companies use them as well. When you bring someone into your business full-time and they're only working for you, you're able to grow them and you're able to have them put their focus on bigger projects than just short-term projects. I was talking to someone this past week and they were saying that they pay someone on Fiverr about, I don't know what it was, $7, $20, $30 for every single under contract post that they made. And so if that team does 10 under contract posts in a month, they were spending $150, $200, $250 a month to Fiverr to be able to create them these posts or these videos or these logos or whatever it may be. And yet when we've stepped in, we're able to provide them someone at $640 a month that can do all of those tasks. So it really didn't change the budget of this team to go and get a full-time VA to do tasks that were only taking an hour or two a week. And now they have someone full-time ready to go 38 hours. So places like Fiverr, Upwork, those are still great places if you need short-term projects and you don't have a VA on staff. But if you're looking at one or the other, it's really, really good to get someone vested in your business that can learn and stay with you long-term. And it shatters the myth that they're only good for short-term projects. Myth number 10 is people only want me. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about the 3 phases of usually where we're going to see a virtual assistant be used in a real estate industry or a real estate agent's business, should I say. And a lot of times people have a hesitation that people only want me. They only want me to call them, Justin. They only want me to send them an email. Guys, no one knows if you send them an email or not. No one knows if it's you or not sending them a message on Facebook. At the end of the day, I'll tell you, a lot of our VAs get placed with people. We just had someone jump on a call with us today. Steve, congratulations. I'm excited to get you a VA. He jumped on and said, I just need a client care manager. I need a VA that takes care of my clients. I don't need them to do crazy online lead gen, I don't need anything. I just need them to love my database because I understand the math that someone that I'm paying $7,800 a year or $648 a month, I understand the math that if they love people enough and they just find me one more deal, I have a positive ROI. And here's the thing, when you have that mindset and you spread that energy among your business, people will love your virtual assistant more than they love you. And that's a good thing. You want people to love your team more than you because then when they're sending you referrals or they need something, they will go to who they love most. My whole goal is to put my team members like Shireen and Narvin and Paige in such a light to represent who they actually are as people and actually show you their skill sets to such a degree that you love who they are, that you go to them for questions, you go to them for help, and now they are able to thrive in their niche down thing that they're really, really good at. I'll give you an example. When I was in my real estate business and someone would call me, and I'll admit to this, they'd call me, a past client, go, Justin, my water's having issues or whatever. I need a plumber. I'd go, yeah, I got you. But I'd be so busy that afternoon that I couldn't even get back to them. I'd left to go. The next day they say, I casually, passively, aggressively go, Justin, you didn't help me. I'm like, oh shit, you're right. But now I'm in the place where if I get something like that, I go, hey, let me connect you with Paige. She's the expert on that. And that just puts our company in such a better light than other places. I kind of compare this to if you guys are ever traveling on a road trip and you pull up into a smaller city, you pull up into a diner and there's not a lot of workers, but it's super busy. You're like, well, was this company not doing well? Why am I not getting served? Like, you don't care who your server is. You just want to have really good service from the company. The same thing goes for your real estate business. And for some reason, we forget about that. Now, myth number 11 is, can they grow with me? So what I mean by this is a lot of people say, Justin, when I get one virtual assistant, can they grow with me? Can I get more? Can they niche down into certain things? And if, Justin, I only need one to start, like, what do I have them do? So I kind of put together an order of our organization here. We even have more, even since this photo. But Shireen, our CEO, started with me, and she did everything. She did the CRM, she did the database, she did some calling, she did some cold messaging, she kept me on track, she did my calendar, she was doing interviews, she was literally doing everything under the face of the sun. Now, as soon as she was working 50, 60 hours a week and just at her breaking point, I said, Shreen, you need to go hire yourself an assistant. So she brought on Alan, our operations manager now. Alan did not report to me. I don't even think I talked to Alan for like 3 weeks. Now, I've learned my lesson since then. Culture needed to be better, so we don't do that anymore. But it was because we were so leveraged that Alan was being managed by Shreen. Gary Keller says this a lot, and even though I'm not with KW anymore, I still highly respect a lot of the things that this guy says. He says you should never be reporting to 3 to 4 more. You should not be reporting to more than 3 to 4 people at a time. If I had all these people report to me, I would be in absolute fire mode all day, right? If Alan had a problem, and Nard had a problem, and Jet had a problem, and Jan had a problem, and Matt had a problem, and Melvin had a problem, and they all came to me, I would absolutely go insane. So they kind of have this chain of command that over time you can build this. And so a lot of you guys already have a Shreen in your life. You already have an assistant. You already have a rockstar buyer's agent, and you actually may need a VA to be the assistant of your assistant already. Some of you guys have no leverage in place and you need that Shreen. And so I just say, can they grow with me? Absolutely. Someone asked me this afternoon actually on a call. They said, Justin, what's the retention rate of a VA within your guys' experience? Well, out of the 120 plus that we've done this year, not a single VA has quit. Not a single VA has quit their job this year alone in 2020. We're 9 months into a pandemic, absolutely insane. When you treat people right and you put them in the right position, they will not leave you when you let them grow with you. Myth number 12, time zone problem. So many people call me and they say, Justin, how does this work? Like, how do I talk to my VA when they're on a different time zone? So like, do I email them all the work and then I check it all the next day? No. What's really cool about the Philippines is their culture is so embedded in outsourced work. These big corporations came in, built call centers, and it's just the way of life that they are actually used to the nighttime shift. It is a very normal thing. Here we hear graveyard shift and we're like, that's weird. I've never heard of someone working a graveyard shift, or very few people in your life that do that. Over there, it is so common, because when you call Airbnb or Chase Bank or Verizon or Dish TV, they're always answering during our day. That means they're working the night shift. So it's very, very, very normal for them to work on your time zone. So when we search for virtual assistants, we want them to be working on our time zone. Now, there's some things, like if tomorrow my video editor, Jan, came to me and said, Justin, I'd much rather work a different time zone, I probably wouldn't say no, because stuff like video editing and things like that, I can get him to work. He's so good at what he does now, I can just get it to him and know he'll get back the next day. And so there's different positions, but for most people, when you're using the VA, you want them to be on your time zone. Myth number 13, bad internet connection. Now, yes, virtual assistants in the Philippines, virtual assistants anywhere in the world will have worse connection of internet than you do, because we live in the frickin' United States of America. We sometimes take for granted how blessed we are to have the infrastructure we have. But when you do the right things and you have the right things in place, like we could buy backup internet for our VAs for as little as $50 a one-time fee. So all of my VAs have backup internet. If you guys are currently listening to this and you have a VA, even if it's through a different company, and your VA works from home and they don't have backup internet, just know you can buy backup internet for as little as $50 one-time fee. There's some really, really cool things. Now, of course, sometimes it rains hard and their internet goes out, but I'll tell you the biggest thing that agents struggle with here. Agents are impatient and agents get expectations set wrong. The expectation is that if your business is built the right way, and you build the systems the right way, and you build the accountability the right way, you build the communication the right way. If your VA's internet goes out for an hour, which is about the max you ever see ours go out, unless just like a typhoon comes in and wipes something out, which would be really, really sad, but it happens every once in a while, then in that case, it's understandable. There's not much you can do about natural disasters. But when it comes to internet, my team's internet is up all day, every day. If for some reason a VA's internet is really intermittent, we're just gonna find another VA that has better internet. It's just like here. you have someone that doesn't show up to work on time every single day, it's just the unfortunate situation. You're going to have to let them go because you're running a business. Same thing goes in the VA world, which is the benefit is if you align with a company that can replace your VA whenever you need it, you can do that until you find the right fit and you don't have to go through the headaches of constantly rehiring. But I'll tell you, I've never really noticed my team be out of work because of the internet. Randomly, I'll lose someone and be like, oh, they must have disappeared because of internet. But I'll show you guys some cool tools here in a minute to avoid that. Myth number 14 is accountability. Justin, how do I keep my VAs accountable? We use a system called Screenshot Monitor, which I'm going to show you guys here just in a minute. It's really cool for accountability. So don't worry about that. Accountability is really, really easy to make sure that they're working the hours that they say they are. Myth number 15. There is a very, very famous book called The 4-Hour Workweek, and people think it's absolutely false. They don't think that it's possible to work the 4-hour workweek. Now, I will tell you that it is very, very possible when you have virtual assistants. I say this right now is if you've never read the 4-Hour Workweek, you need to go read it after we finish this series this week because it will blow your mind and everything I've been talking about will make a little bit more sense. Now, if you've read the 4-Hour Workweek before and you read it early on in your business or you didn't read it and understand virtual assistants very well, you'll actually realize that that entire book is actually about how to hire and train virtual assistants. But when you first read it, like the first time I read it, you actually don't realize that that's what it's about. Now, if you guys are watching this live, and I'm only going to do this for a certain amount of people, if you guys comment 4-Hour Workweek and you don't have the book, I will literally send you one. Just comment, I want the book. The first 20 people to comment, I want the book, I will literally send you this book because it's that life-changing. I went on a little like getaway to Cabo over the last month and I really got to live this out. I worked almost none for like 2 weeks straight. Now I could live this life right now if I wanted to. And sure, my income might not be where I want it to be because it might obviously fall down a little bit because our lead gen systems are still being put into place. Businesses are still growing. But if I wanted to take a 4-hour work week, I could probably get away with it and I would at least make enough money to survive and stock some away. Might not have the growth I want to, but we're getting there and it's all based around that. So keep commenting, I want the book. Shannon, you don't know how to follow directions. Not raise your hand, just kidding. Me and Shannon have a special relationship of fun poking. So Shannon, if you want the book, you gotta write, I want the book, okay? I will send that. Tyler says, I do want the book, haven't read it. Yes, Tyler, that's what I'm talking about, man. That book will change your life. Now, what do you have to do? I'm gonna give you another instruction because I don't feel like tracking you all down. You need to message me your address. Message me your address and my VAs will send you this book via Amazon. We're gonna go old school. We're gonna put it in a hardback cover. We're gonna ship it to you via Amazon. It's gonna be at your doorstep probably by the end of this call. It's absolutely insane how fast Amazon is these days. But send me the book, or if you wrote, I want the book, please just send me a message, send me your address. I would love to get that book to you guys. It's absolutely life-changing. Myth number 16, I have to train them. I hear this all the time. There's two ends of the spectrum here. Number one, agents come to me and go, Justin, are you gonna give me a VA that's fully trained on everything I need to have? And I'm like, maybe, what do you have? And they're like, well, I have YLoco, I have Sync, I have Boomtown, I have Top Producer, I have KW Command, I have KV Core. And I'm like, what? You have 7 CRMs? Like, guys, this is a real thing. I'm not judging you, I've been there. And they're like, and I also use Dotloop and DocuSign too sometimes, and I use CTM contracts. And I'm like, guys, how could you possibly think that a VA is gonna know all of those things? Even if you hire a $200,000 a year employee in the United States that works for you full time, and they have a lot of real estate experience, they're not gonna have experience in all of those things. And so number one, you need to have the expectation that you are going to have to train the VA on some things. Now, here's the really cool thing about the real estate industry. It is the most educated industry in my opinion, should I say. When you talk about plumbers, and you talk about a plumber building a business or an electrician building a business, they don't just have, like, you can't go on YouTube and just find how to build an electrician business. When it comes to real estate, you can pretty much find anything anywhere. And so a lot of these systems that you're using, they have these massive training libraries, Boomtown, Sync, KW Command, Dotloop, DocuSign, Ylopo, all these places, these systems and tools you're using, they have massive libraries. Now, if I'm being honest and just gonna burn you a little bit, because it can go right back on me. All these systems, we just haven't dove into their library because we said we didn't have time to. Well, when you get a VA and they're working for you 40 hours a week, they have all the time in the world in the beginning to go and really dive in and become an expert on those tools. The time that you didn't have because you were busy building a business and running a family, etc. Nothing against you. It's just awesome when your VA can come in and tap into those resources. So that's number one. But number two is the VA can train themselves on so many things when you put them in the right environment. I actually have a computer screen right behind the screen right here, and it is a chat room of all the virtual assistants that we have ever given to real estate agents in the United States. So 120 plus VAs I can watch on my screen right now, and they're all talking to each other about how to do something. Someone just asked of how they can make a video profile picture, and 3 other people just jumped in there and said that this is how you do it. Like just like that, your VA has a network of people when they're in the right positions, just like you. If you put yourself in the right company, you put yourself in the right environment, if you need help with something, you go to a certain place, you're gonna get what you need done really fast. So I say number one, there's plenty of resources for your VA to train themselves. And number two, you can also find VAs that already come with knowledge and experience in these things. And that's obviously a kind of, of course, what our company is built on. Myth number 17 is I don't have 40 hours a week of work for them. Like that's a very valid thing. I'm gonna tell you that I haven't found a single person yet that I've ever worked with in the VA space that has gotten a VA from me that hasn't been able to find 40 hours a week of work. We talked about it last night. We talked about the Facebook rule last night. So many of you guys have thousands of friends, yet they're not in your database. Literally, that's a 40-hour project for the next 6 months for your VA to clean that up. And so if you're telling me you don't have 40 hours a week of work, you're just not sitting down and taking the time to think about things that your VA could do to move the needle in your business forward. So that's that. You have 40 hours a week of work. I also hear agents all the time, they're like, I worked an 80-hour week. I worked 120 hours. And yet they tell me they don't have 40 hours a week for their VA. I'm like, well, either then you're lying on social media about how much time you're actually working, or you're just not taking the time. So you definitely have 40 hours a week of work. You might just not be thinking of the task. Ding, 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 reminder, if you guys go to the announcement post, you guys are probably watching this in the newsfeed. You go to the announcement post, we have the top 50 things that we have VAs do in the real estate business. Go check that out. There's written instructions on how to do each one. You'll probably find 40 hours in your business there. Myth number 18 is I can't afford a VA. Guys, I'm gonna send you guys a document that changed my life. If you guys got a message from us last night because you guys requested the personal tax document, awesome, thanks for requesting that. We actually have a version 2.0 coming out. That's just version 1. Version 2.0 has got a lot more on it. This is I can't afford a VA document. This is a document that my mentor walked me through back in the day. I revised it to a little bit more to our standards now. It's an I can't afford a VA document. It's to challenge you to look at your business in a different light to see if you truly can't afford one, if you can't afford one, or if into the future, how much do you need to be making to afford one. So if you want that document, just like yesterday, say I'm more than happy to get that document to you. This is the document that allowed me to game plan into the future, whether I was ready for a VA now, or whether I was ready for a VA in the future. So when people are saying, I want the book, I love it. People are sending me, wish I had a VA to message you for me. Matt, I love that. Oh, I love that, Matt. I love that. My VAs are actually listening right now, and they're probably going to start sending out the books ASAP. So love it, Don. Appreciate you jumping in. I want the book, 4-hour work week. I love it. So I want to jump out real fast, and I want to show you guys one of the systems that we use with my awesome team. Now, shout out to my team, Melvin, Jonathan, you guys are kicking ass today. I appreciate your guys' hard work. Please don't work over 40 hours this week. I can see that Jonathan and Melvin are putting in the work. Melvin's actually watching the Facebook Live. Appreciate you helping everybody out, man. Melvin's on 10 hours today. Jonathan's at 11. That's not normal for our virtual assistants to do, but just like in real estate, when you find the right admin, when you find the right team members, if they got tasks they still need to get done, things are getting done. So this is how we track our virtual assistants. Now, if you've never seen this before, it is a really, really cool software that allows you to track what your VAs are doing. Now, if you guys can't see it, I'm going to blow it up here in just a minute. But what we can see here is I'm going to go into someone's profile. I'm going to go into Alden's profile today. I can see what he did throughout the entire day. So here he was, Alden's our VA coach. So he sits around all day and he's coaching a room full of virtual assistants. So you guys will see he was walking through here. He's taking care of training, you know, what is a VA, inside sales agents. He's really walking through making sure all of our people have consistent training. I just show you guys this because this is a great way to keep your VAs accountable to see what they're doing throughout the day. Here he was building us organization charts. There's just so much that you can track. Now, some of you guys are like, well, how do I keep track of my VA's hours? When you use a software like this, I can see that Jonathan's already worked 30 hours this week. Melvin's worked 28. Karen's worked 18. Jet's worked 30. Narvin's worked 23. And so this is a great way that if your VA's internet goes out for a day or something, or, you know, here's really the funny joke. I'm going to give you guys kind of some insight here. If you guys are homeschooling your kids right now, or your kids are at home and you don't know what they're doing, get them a screenshotmonitor.com account, because then you can watch their screen and see what they're doing at school. And if they're not on their computer or they're messing around, you'll know. And so you can see literally every single thing. What's really cool is this system is actually free as well. So it is completely free. And here you can actually see what they do. So it actually breaks down up here in the top right. It breaks down the exact tasks that they are doing during the day. So you can see the URLs that they were on. You can see the exact tasks that they were doing. So it really allows you to narrow in on those different things. So just wanted to show you guys that. Quick little document here. Tomorrow we are going to go over a bunch of different softwares that we use with our virtual assistants. Almost everything that we use is free or very, very cheap, like under a few dollars a month. Someone asked me the question yesterday and I forgot to answer it live. They asked me, hey, Justin, how much does it cost me to have a virtual assistant? Like how much software do you pay for each month, etc.? And the answer is we pay for about $30 a month in software, whether it be calling software, whether it be screenshot software, whether it be payment software, all of those things. So relatively inexpensive. I used to buy my assistants more coffee and lunches than $30 a month when they were sitting next to me. So obviously being able to do things like that to make their life easier, to keep tracking easier, well worth the time. So as we wrap up here, I just wanted to say thank you for another great night on here. I hope you're able to kind of break some of your limiting beliefs down. If you guys have any questions after watching this, or you want to message me and ask me any questions, just know we're always here for you. Our job is to help you learn how to grow your business in ways you've never thought of growing it. You know, a lot of you guys know me from different backgrounds. This is the passion of being able to give you your time back with your kids, with your family. And so if there's anything that we can do, definitely don't hesitate to let us know. If you guys are watching this, make sure, right, I want the book if you want the book. And after that, that's all I have for tonight, guys. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. I look forward to talking to some of you guys on this live right now. Actually have sales calls with me tomorrow because you want to hire our VAs. So I look forward to chatting with you guys tomorrow. I look forward to being able to help you out. If you guys ever need a virtual assistant, you obviously know where to find us. We're here. We do have programs to help you find virtual assistants. We'll actually talk more about that tomorrow, but I really hope you guys got some nuggets out of this. A reminder, tomorrow is all about how to hire and train. Hire and train. You don't know how to hire, you don't know how to train, I can give you the best VA ever, but you wouldn't know what to do with them. So look forward to chatting with you guys tomorrow. We're going to show you some awesome software. It's going to have a lot of fun. And until then, I will see you guys soon. Oh, man, love it. Thanks, Tyler. I appreciate it. Melvin, I appreciate you sticking out a few hours for me, man. So I'll get everybody that book and have a great rest of your night.